Another day, another story. The history of coffee, a journey through time and culture. The fascinating, ancient history of coffee. In this vlog post, we'll take you on a journey through time and culture as we explore the history of coffee from its humble beginnings to its current status as one of the most popular beverages in the world. Coffee plants and coffee beans. Coffee is enjoyed by millions of people around the world, with different traditions and styles of preparation. At the heart of this beloved beverage are coffee beans, the seeds of the coffee plant. The coffee plant, scientifically known as coffea, is a member of the Rubiaceae family and is native to tropical regions of Africa. The coffee tree is a small, evergreen plant that produces bright red or yellow fruit called cherries. The coffee plant. The coffee plant is extremely sensitive to its environment and requires specific conditions to grow. Coffee trees can grow up to 30 feet tall, and they can live for several decades with proper care. The beans are roasted at high temperatures for a specific amount of time, depending on the desired roast level. Coffee drinking has a rich cultural history and is an important part of the daily routine for many people. From the world's first coffee houses in Venice and London to the bustling coffee shops of today, coffee has played a central role in social and intellectual conversations. With its energizing effects, comforting aroma, and rich taste, coffee has become a beloved beverage for millions of people around the world. The earliest records of coffee use. The earliest records of coffee use come from 15th century Ethiopia and Yemen. By the 16th century, coffee had spread throughout Egypt, Syria, Turkey, and Persia. According to legend, an Ethiopian farmer noticed his goats eating a certain type of berry that made them seem energized and full of life. He tried some himself and found that he felt similarly energized. Word spread quickly about this mysterious magical berry, and soon people began trading it across the region as a food source and eventually as a drink. Another popular legend claims that Sufi Muslim monasteries in Yemen used coffee beans as early as the 15th century to stay awake during long nights of worship and prayer. The beans were crushed into powder, mixed with hot water, and consumed as a strong black beverage considered sacred by some. Coffee comes to Europe and the emergence of coffee houses. In 1554, with Venetian merchants bringing back stories about a dark beverage enjoyed in Cairo, Egypt. Soon afterward, Pope Clement VIII gave his blessing for Christians to enjoy drinking coffee after trying it himself and deeming it so delicious that it would be a pity to let the infidels have exclusive use of it. A few years later, in 1615, Italy's first cafe opened up in Florence called Caffè Paszkowski. They served Turkish-style drinks made with ground beans imported from their colonies, which had been brought over by traders. This cafe set off an era that saw cafes popping up all around Europe. By 1650 there were over 300 cafes in Venice alone. Coffee houses soon gained popularity in Italy before spreading to France and England. By 1650 there were over 300 cafes in Europe where people could buy cups of Turkish black gold for a few coins. It became especially popular in Turkey, where it was served in coffee houses or cafes. These places were frequented by intellectuals, politicians, writers, and other influential members of society. Early coffee houses in Europe. In England, a few significant figures took a liking to this heathenish liquor and opened their coffee shops, such as the Grecian Coffee House run by Edward Lloyd in 1688, and Jonathan's Coffee House owned by Jonathan Rowland in 1723. These coffee houses had an enormous impact on the cultural development of European society. They provided a space to share ideas freely and stimulate debate, sparking a new wave of innovation that would shape future generations. They also influenced literature through authors like Daniel Defoe, who famously wrote about Jonathan's Coffee House, creating an image that has since become synonymous with early coffee culture. Edward Lloyd's Coffee House. Edward Lloyd's Coffee House was a popular gathering place for merchants in London during the late 17th century. For its time, Edward Lloyd's Coffee House was seen as an innovative establishment that changed the trading landscape by offering a reliable means of protecting goods and finances against potential losses due to sea or land-based mishaps. The coffee house had been located on Lombard Street since its inception, and it quickly became a hub of finance and information exchange. The house operated under Edward Lloyd himself until his descendants took over into the 19th century. The history and tradition of Turkish coffee. Turkish coffee is an integral part of Turkey's gastronomic culture, with a rich history stretching back over 500 years. This type of coffee is brewed in a special cup called a cezve and is made using finely ground Arabica beans. The presentation of the coffee is part of its allure. It is usually served without cream or sugar, allowing the flavor of the roasted beans to truly shine through. The preparation of Turkish coffee also has its distinctive process, requiring patience and skill to achieve the perfect cup. Coffee comes to America. In 1607, Captain John Smith brought coffee to America, where it quickly gained popularity amongst colonists due to its low cost and stimulating effects on tired travelers. A devout health advocate and lifestyle enthusiast, Smith believed drinking several cups of black coffee every morning were beneficial to cognitive functionality and alertness. Even more interesting is the fact that he was considered one of the first colonists to avail himself of brewed black coffee in Jamestown around 1607 when it first arrived. The arrival of coffee in America marked a significant moment in the beverage's cultural evolution. With the Declaration of Independence in 1776, coffee quickly became an integral part of American culture and everyday life. Coffee houses emerged in early American cities and became popular gathering places, especially for the artistic and intellectual classes. Today, coffee plantations can be found everywhere from Hawaii to Central America, and are responsible for much of the world's coffee production. The history of coffee plantations and slavery in America. The process of cultivating the coffee tree, harvesting its berries, known as coffee cherries, and turning them into usable beans for roasting and brewing was largely done by African slaves. This type of labor was physically demanding and dangerous due to potential contamination from pesticides or other chemicals. Furthermore, those who were enslaved had no control over their wages, working hours, or conditions of work, leading to a long history of exploitation within the industry. The use of forced labor led to an increase in production efficiency and allowed some countries to become exporters in the global coffee market. As America entered the 20th century, coffee had firmly established itself as one of the mainstays of American culture. With the city of San Francisco becoming particularly associated with coffee and known for its coffee houses and unique brewing methods, such as pour-over and French press. The impact of the Dutch East India Company on the coffee trade. The Dutch East India Company, VOC, is often credited with helping to spread the popularity of coffee around the world. During their period of power in the 17th and 18th centuries, VOC held a near monopoly on trade from Asia to Europe. This gave them direct access to imports of raw coffee beans from the Middle East and Arab world, allowing them to control both the supply and price of this commodity. As they expanded their reach along maritime routes, they also established a large number of plantations in various locations so that they could cultivate coffee locally. This provided them with more control over quality as well as a cost advantage over competitors, as well as allowing them to maximize their profits by controlling all stages of production, processing and shipping. Discovering the hidden benefits of coffee produced in Central and South America. Today, coffee production remains an important component of the economies of Central and South America. The plants thrive in the tropical climates of Central and South America, where the majority of global coffee production takes place. Coffee farmers in Latin America harvest over 80% of the world's total supply every year. Once harvested, these green berries are processed into marketable coffee beans by being dried and then pulped before being sent off for roasting or brewing. Conclusion. Today, coffee is enjoyed around the world and has become an integral part of many cultures. At our store, we have 2 collections that celebrate this amazing beverage, More Espresso Less Depresso. And Hello Darkness My Old Friend. So come join us on this journey through time and culture as we explore the wonderful world of coffee. Until next time, happy sipping. Thanks for watching.